Thank you for joining us. You're listening to the St. John's Farmers Market Radio Almanac. This is a show about business and market culture in and around St. John's, Newfoundland. This program is produced and recorded at CHMR FM 93.5 FM in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, and is aired on other great stations in the province and elsewhere in the country. It can also be heard online at www.chmr.ca. I'm your host, Matthew Ledrew, owner and operator at Engine Books, the province's fastest growing independent publisher of books. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for another very special episode of the St. John's Farmers Market Radio Almanac. I am here this week with Diana Boyd from Mother's Soap, the award-winning business Mother's Soap. Last year, she won a St. John's Community Votes Award. Congratulations, and thank you for joining us, Diana.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so if I understand your business correctly, you make soap from other people's mothers. That's
No.
no? Okay.
No.
Might need some clarification then in that case. What is Mother's Soap?
So Mother's Soap is I make 100% natural soap, which isn't like a new thing. There's a lot of people out there that do it, but I make mine with no artificial scents, no artificial colorants, and I don't add extra chemicals like SLS or phthalates, and that's probably pronouncing that wrong. I never pronounce it right. And parabens. So everything is completely made with oils, vegetables, fats, butters, plants for colorants, spices for botanicals. Pretty much as everything's grown out of the ground.
Okay, that's interesting. That's really cool. What gave you the idea to start this? How does one wake up? It's been a while since I started my business. My business grew kind of naturally. Like I was a writer. Oh, let's be a publisher. You know what I mean? Like there's a one-to-one connection there. That's like, oh, okay, I can understand how that happens. I don't understand how other people sometimes, I'm interested in that thing that makes them start a business. Like, how do you wake up one day and go like, I know, I'll make soap. Like, are you a clean freak and there was never enough soap at the grocery store, so you were like, I'll make my own, and you're just scrubbing everything like insane or whatever? Like, what's going on?
Kinda. Actually, the thing that got me into it is my husband has severe allergies to artificial perfumes. What we discovered lately last year, he's actually anaphylactically allergic to like artificial perfumes. We don't know what chemical it is, anyways.
Oh wow!
And when back a couple of years ago, it was almost impossible to find unscented, like purely unscented products. Like you have to be careful because it says unscented on the front. Anyone who has allergies is nodding their heads right now. It might say unscented on the front, but if you flip it over, you'll see fragrance and perfume written in the ingredients in the back. And what they do is they put a masking perfume into their product so that you don't smell the perfume, but the chemicals everybody's actually allergic to are still there. So I started making my own because I actually wanted nice smelling soaps that aren't going to send my husband to the hospital and that look nice and pretty. And I was just giving them away as gifts to family and friends. And I got nudged into being told I should sell it because there's other people that could use it. So I started my business. Well, actually in 2019, I spent the whole year like researching, figuring out how to start up a business, getting like starting like the production of soap so that like the start of 2020, everyone's laughing right now, I would start my business and launch it. And I had the absolutely unlucky timing of launching my business 2 weeks before the pandemic came to Newfoundland.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's amazing. Wonderful timing. What are you?
Yeah, wonderful timing. I got to one single market of Hump Day Market, and then the province shut down. So it shut down like all these other markets I had set up to vend at. And then my family's like, oh, go sell online. I'm like, I have an online store, but nobody knows I exist. So how do I market this to online people that don't know exist? So I pretty much just I kept pushing through. I was watching all these businesses close. I'm like, I have to just keep pushing through. Like it started out should have been like a small, not I wouldn't say hobbyist job, but like a small business. And now it's throughout the pandemic, it's grown into almost a second full-time job for me. So I have my full-time job, I work at the university, and then this has become a try to keep it becoming a second monster full-time job.
Well, yeah, that is part of the horror of being a small business owner. Oftentimes, you take your passion, the thing that you do to unwind at the end of the day, and then turn it into a business, and
Mhm.
then you're never not working, and it's rough.
Yeah, and then what I thought was going to be a very small little niche market for my item turned out to be a very large, not
Yeah,
so much niche market. I'm finding a lot of people are going back to like wanting like natural soap, like the way I make it the way it used to be made in the past. So I do it through hot process. I cook my soap.
yeah.
So I spend 4 hours making it, cooking it down, putting it in molds, and then it's just a process of rolling from there. But most people, businesses do cold process because it takes a lot less time.
Yeah.
Like you make it, you put it in the molds, and then it sits in there for like depends on their recipe, 1 to 2 weeks, and then it cures for 4 weeks. Whereas I hot process, you cook it down, so it's already soaked before it. Like there's no lye. If you do your recipe correctly, there's no lye left in it. When you finish, it's all soap. It sits in my mold for about 40 hours. Then I cut it, and then I cure it for the same amount of time as someone doing the cold process.
Have you ever seen Fight Club?
I have not, to my
I
husband's
s-
chagrin, I've never seen any of those videos.
uh yeah, no, that's the villain, Tyler Durden. He makes soap, and he makes it from he steals fat from a liposuction
Oh, God.
um like facility, and
Mhm,
then makes soap from it and sells it back to the same people that the fat came from.
mhm. Well, like it logically, it makes sense. You can make soap out of anything, fats, butters, oils. It all like everything does something different to your soap. So,
Okay.
like my recipe,
Does
if
not
someone
involve
does,
human flesh, I'm imagining.
yeah, I wouldn't be using human. Although
Okay.
some people do make breast milk soap for women. I have
Really?
been, yes, I have been asked. I'm not allowed to legally, you're not allowed to legally sell it in Canada,
Hmm.
but some businesses just don't even deal with like human um, liquids, I guess, call it
Yeah.
politically correct word. Um, but if someone has their own, I could make a batch with it and then sell it to that person that has provided the ingredients sort of thing.
There you go.
But it's very super niche.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm.
I
But yeah, as I was saying, sorry. Um, yeah, so like every oil, every butter, every fat does something different in your recipe. And it depends on the ratio too. Like I spent a year crafting my recipe for like hardness, creaminess, cleansing, moisturizing. And then someone else used the exact same ingredients to a slightly different ratio, and their soap will look and feel completely different than mine.
wow, interesting.
Yeah. Now that's soap. That's completely different from detergent bars. That's a whole
Okay,
other thing we can get into. It's fun.
okay,
It's interesting.
okay. Get into detergent bars. Are they made from humans?
No, but they're
Okay.
not actually soap
Oh,
in
okay. What are
Canada.
they?
In Canada, anyways. Yes, it's interesting. I discovered this. In Canada, there's actually a set legal definition of what can be called soap.
Okay.
So yeah, next time you guys are at the store, check this out. It's interesting. In Canada, to be called actually be able to put the word soap on your soap, it has to have gone through the saponification process, meaning you using fats, oils, and lye in order to do a chemical reaction to turn all of that into actual soap. If it's doesn't use that process, can only be it's a detergent bar, which means it's not actually it's made with like essentially petroleum and a bunch of other chemicals in it to make it lather and make it hard and make it like cleansing and stuff, which is what those paint lights, fatal lights, parabens, and SLS do. And it makes it cheaper because it's all just chemicals. So like if you next time you're in the store, look at boxes. If it doesn't say soap in the box, if it says like beauty bar, facial bar, body bar, anything except for soap, um, look in the
Body,
ingredients and you probably won't actually see like actual oils listed in the
what about
INCI.
body wash?
That's slightly different,
Okay,
but I think it falls under the same thing.
interesting.
Like I think Ivory, to my knowledge, is the only one that can put soap on its label because it actually they do the INC, the saponification process. But
Wow.
I haven't seen Ivory in store for a while, so I don't know what's
Yep.
happening or if I just can't see it. But yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting to look at.
Interesting. That is
Mm,
interesting. It can legally be called so
yeah.
weird.
Now in the States, there's no legal definition, so anyone can do anything and put soap on it as long as
Of
it
course.
washes and cleans. And every country is different. Like even England has a lot even more strict requirements for just not just selling, but what can be labeled and everything like. And then soap uses INCI names. Like so, if you turn it over, you won't see my label saying coconut oil. You'll see sodium cocoa latte. So it's INCI is pretty much like an international language. So it doesn't matter what language you speak. It's the same for everybody. So they can look at the name and go, okay, in my language, I know what that is.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
it's not like I have to have it translated into French or translated into German. It's the same worldwide.
Okay. Interesting. I can see
Hmm.
why that would be important. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. If only all the different people could get together on other things, that would be great. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you talked a bit about natural versus unnatural ingredients. I want to dig down into that for a second because, like, just in case there's a contrarian like me listening, because
Mhm.
like every time someone I hear someone say, "Oh, unnatural ingredients" or something like that, I picture like Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch, like in the factory, like conjuring something
Yeah.
from another dimension that goes into the ingredients or something like that.
Mhm.
I'm like, uranium's all natural. Like, it's not good for you, but it's
Yeah.
natural. It comes out of the
Arsenic is
ground.
natural. I would never put arsenic in my soap. And I'll throw a wrench into your thing there.
Yeah,
In Canada and the States, there's no legal definition of what all natural is or what
yeah,
natural is.
because uranium's all natural. Yeah. So what's where's the line for you and what like I understand with the allergy component and stuff
Mhm.
like that to the states. What's the line? Where's the line, and why does that line exist for you? I guess.
Like because as I said, like there's no legal definition
Hmm.
of natural. Someone can put literally like an orange in and put natural on the soap, and there'd be all completely full of artificial chemicals.
There you go.
And then also again, just because it's natural doesn't necessarily mean it's any better
Yep.
than detergent bars. Like I don't promote my soap as being the be all end all of soap just because
Well, you
I say
should.
it's all
That's what we're
natural.
doing. That's what we're doing here.
I know. I don't like putting myself on a pillar
This is
because
a
everyone says
this is a
something different.
yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um. So for me, for my version natural is I use plants. I use like most of my ingredients have come out of the ground in their raw form. Like
Mm.
I use pure essential oils that aren't already blended or mixed. I don't use there's nature identical and then there's two different terminologies. One is a blend, so it's a blend of pure essential oils and fragrance oils. I don't do that. I just do the pure stuff, which is more expensive. But I also keep away from like the ridiculously expensive ones. And there's so a few things I will buy that are made by labs because of the issue of arsenic, which is natural. Hard, heavy minerals are natural, but I can't use naturally made oxides, which are like rust and stuff, because they're all contaminated with arsenic and heavy metal and mercury and stuff. But I can buy chemically identical oxides that are made in the lab that are identical chemical structure wise. I'm not a chemist, so I can't explain all that.
You're not
But
a
there's
chemist?
I'm not a chemist.
chemi
I'm not. I
chemist.
don't have a degree in chemistry.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they make it so there's no arsenic, there's no mercury, there's no contamination with anything else, so it's safer to use.
Good.
So like I make an exception for that, but the only thing I don't use is micas or anything where it's been like very, very chemically like adjusted and processed. But then again, some people do use micas and they say it's natural soap. So it depends on what your personal definition of natural is. I've had people say, I've had people argue with me saying I can't call my soap all natural because I use lard in it, which is a fat, which is great for your skin. But the thing
Lard's
is,
pretty natural.
it is, but it depends on that person's definition. There's some, I don't want to like put anyone up like sort of thing,
No.
but in their view, if anything that's not plant, if there's animal stuff, it's not natural. I know that's a very small viewpoint, right? But yeah, it's different. Like I just try to do everything. Like if I could walk out, like in my back garden, I grow mint plants and lavender, and I take that in the summer when it's growing, put it in my oils and infuse it over like a couple of days, so it actually pulls out the natural essential oils from those plants into like the oil, and then I make the soap with that. And like some people, they use micas, they use other colorants. I just try to use everything plant-based. And again, it's not like I'm going to be any better than anyone because still you can be allergic to plants. I'm allergic to grass. Grass is natural.
Yeah.
So it's as I was saying, just because it's essential oils, just because it says natural, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for everybody, or it's going to work for you, or you won't have like some kind of reaction to it. I used to make my soap with soybean oil until I found out there's a lot of people in Newfoundland that are allergic to soybean. So I changed it to sunflower. But then I also found out there's people that are allergic to like coconut oil, sunflower oil, and a bunch of other things. I'm like, I can't. That's when it becomes like, okay, well, what do I do for my recipe that the majority of people can use, but that I can also like do a custom order of it without those if someone really, really wanted it.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Like I started making vegan soap, and then I just realized there was so many other businesses around that did all natural, that soaps were already vegan. It's like, okay, well, that's a market I don't need to also be in because they're also in there. So I'm like, I'm going to focus on my recipe that people like, and then just try to make them as nice and pretty and as many options as I can.
Yep.
Rather than trying to branch out into like cover everything.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense.
Mm.
Perfect sense. Yep. Okay. Good stuff. Good. Crazy. That's really
sorry,
complex.
I can just like go on little like little tangents and just like, oh, someone's talking about soap. Okay.
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Absolutely. Okay, that's great. All right. I have a boatload of silly questions here.
Oh, sure. I love silly questions.
Okay. All right, because I think we got an episode talking about the more serious side of things, and that's good. So let's do some silly stuff here.
Do I get a little button I just get to push if I don't want to answer? Like,
yes. It's your it's your nose. Yeah. Diana Boyd of Mother's Soap. If you were going to be trapped on a desert island for the rest of your life, what 3 books would you want with you?
Oh, my first one would be like Survival Guide 101 that has like all those little tips of stuff, because like that's just like the important thing. It's like watching Survivor where they vote off all the people that actually know how to survive at the very beginning of the show.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch that show after that. There's that book. I would have to have some kind of like comic manga book, because I've gotten into that recently on the reading the comic mawas sort of thing. And my last book would probably have to be a ghost story book.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Some good Dale Jarvis stuff or Stephen
Yes.
King. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you very much. Diana Boyd of Mother's Soap. You already kind of answered this, but let's do it again for the question. Who inspired you to start your business, if anyone did?
My husband with his allergies, And then also my siblings and my nieces and nephews that have skin issues like psoriasis and eczema and stuff.
Whenever someone says skin issues, I want to be like, oh, it's on the outside, or you know what I mean? Like, oh,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Yeah. No. But yeah,
Well,
that
everyone
makes
keeps,
sense.
a lot of people keep forgetting that like your skin is an organ, right?
The
So that's what I'm
largest
saying.
organ.
It's
Yeah.
like, so same thing with soap. It might work for somebody else and it might not work for you at all. It's like medicine.
Yeah.
Some medicine works for some people and it doesn't, absolutely nothing for other people. So like you always have to try around. Just because a natural bar doesn't work for my business doesn't necessarily mean somebody else's recipe is not going to work for you.
Oh, for sure. Big time. Big time.
Hmm.
There's so much about the human body that I just take for granted that is absolutely wrong. Like, and I know it's wrong, but like when I don't know if anyone else does this. When I picture an organ like a liver or something like that, I picture it as hollow. It's definitely not hollow. Like
No.
it's me. You know what I mean? I picture
Hmm.
every organ in my body as though it's a balloon, and it's like that's not how that works.
Mm,
Not how anything works.
yeah.
Um, Diana Boyd of Mother's Soap. This is a very serious question. I will tolerate none of your Mother's Soap silliness.
I will try.
If you were a jam, if your business was a jam, what kind of jam would you be?
Oh. Now I'm thinking of the Jam Ladies jam, going, oh, I love
Of
that one of
course.
hers. I love that one of hers. What kind of jam would I be? I would have to say some kind of blueberry mint because that's my two favoriteest things. I
Okay.
love mint and I love blueberries.
Okay.
It's a good
Mint.
mixture.
Mint.
Mint. Yep. Mint
Mint.
blueberry.
That that's like toothpaste.
No, not necessarily. You can make good mojitos with
Okay.
mint.
All right.
I love
Um,
how I think of liquor and you think of toothpaste.
Yep, yep. That shows a lot right there. Yep, big time. Diana Boyd of Mother's Soap. How did you select the name for your business, Mother's Soap? How did you why that?
That was an interesting one. Actually, it wasn't my original pick. I went through a whole whack of different like topics, and then I actually went on the internets and looked to see if anyone already had a name of their soap business as their soap business or something close to it. And then actually, it was my husband that suggested it, saying "mutters," which is actually a phrase people use in Newfoundland to refer to their mom.
Yeah.
But it also is a play on being dirty. If you
Uh
look at it from like another place, there's actually a run in the States called the Mutters 4K race, and it's all about running through mud.
yeah.
So I'm like, that's perfect. So like I'm thinking if I ever left the province, because at that point we weren't permanently like based here, we could have moved. If I took my store somewhere else, it would still I wouldn't have to change my logo for or branding to make sense for anybody else because if they just view it as Mutters, as in like you're dirty.
Okay.
Here's some Mutter soap for the dirty people.
Yep.
Covered in
Yep.
mud sort of thing. So I liked that and I went with it.
I like it. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Um, Diana Boyd from Mother's Soap. Have you read reviews of your business? Do you read reviews of your business? And if so, how do you deal like with good ones or bad ones?
Oh, that's a good question. I get some feedback like from face to face at the markets. I love feedback, good or negative, because the good stuff obviously makes you feel good. You feel great. But I also like to get like constructive feedback or like negative feedback too, because it helps me tweak things. It helps me tweak my recipes. If I realize that a lot of people are having issues with like the scent being too strong or the scent being too weak, or as I said, like the soybean stuff, I can take that and fix issues. It's not great for any business not to know about problems because you can't fix what you don't know. And then second of all, if people are going around the market saying, oh, don't use this person's stuff or go here because of blah, 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 but
Yep.
no one tells that company, they don't get a chance to fix or address any of that.
Yeah.
So like I like both. I don't get a lot of like written reviews. Most of my reviews are like mouth to mouth with customers coming back saying, oh, I love this, or the best ones is the ones where people like make eye contact and like they beeline right towards me and I can't get that defensive.
Yeah.
reaction. And then well, this is just before the pandemic started, where they would like stick out their hands or something and go, look at my skin. I'm like, and I look going, I don't see anything wrong.
Yeah.
And but like the ones that are like my skin's changed or my skin's softer or my skin no longer feels itchy as soon as I get out of the shower. Oh, by the way, your skin should not feel itchy or tight when
Yeah.
you get out of the shower. If it does, whatever you're using is not working for your skin and you need to change it.
With me, I strongly that does happen to me from time to time, and I strongly suspect it is that I like hot showers, but my body does not.
No, I love hot showers. I love showers that I'm like, you come out like red. That's
Yeah.
me though. Like my husband thinks I'm insane.
Mm.
But like using my soap, my skin doesn't come out dry or itchy, but there has been other soaps I've used and other like body washes before I started making mine that at the same temperature, it would come out like almost feeling like dry, like if you feel like you have a glove over your hand sort of thing. And then as I made soap, I discovered that that's not a good thing. That's like your soap. You essentially, I think, from my understanding, is whatever you're using is actually pulling too much moisture out of your skin,
Yeah.
so it's making it
Us,
dry.
let's dig in there. A second ago, you said mouth to mouth communication when I'm pretty sure you meant word of mouth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What
What's
time
go
is it? It's 9 a.m. and I'm just on my first coffee. I've been up all night with
what's
my 4-year-old, so
what's going on in your head?
not
What's
mouth to mouth is like CPR.
Yeah,
Word of mouth, yes, thank you.
yeah,
Or like them coming back up to me and telling me themselves, sort
and
of thing.
kissing you apparently. Yeah, those are the types of reviews you really pay attention to.
I think my husband would be very upset if someone came up and just randomly kissed me.
Yep, yep, and yet apparently that's your favorite sort of review.
Personal walls.
Mm, mm,
Well, it depends, but no. Yeah, I meant to say word like word of mouth being told directly, sort of thing.
yeah, yeah. Diana Boyd from Mother Soap. Does working at the St. John's Farmers Market, does that energize you or does it exhaust you? Is it the sort of thing where like at the end of the day you're drained, or does it give you bounce? Does it give you energy?
I think it does both. One second, I was gonna close my door because my little guy is walking around. Um, I'm surprisingly very much an introvert, as most
Yeah,
people say, but I lean towards like extroversion. So I need to be able to go out and socialize with people, but then be able to come home and just like cleanse and quiet down, have my me time. So like I enjoy the farmers market because I get to talk to other vendors. I get to talk to people that are not my 4-year-old son. Yeah. And it has like socialization sort of thing. It's fun. It's interesting. I enjoy it. I never really go home tired or negative. My legs get sore from standing for 8 hours, but I enjoy talking to people. I
very
enjoy
cool.
like hearing their stories and feedback, and I'm the kind of person that would sit around the fire and listen to people talk and just like not question but just absorb everything.
Sense. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. 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 I find the market exhausting. I am people would also be shocked. I am not an extrovert, really. I can pretend to be one. But like it's great effort, and by the end I am very peopled out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I go home and the drive between the farmers market and my house. I just kind of like take a few breaths and de-stress.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely not like an extrovert that just thrives in
Yeah.
groups in public.
Okay.
I'm
Right.
more behind the scenes sort of person. So I'm still working on this whole like, as I said, doing this interview with you and the direct contact with customers and talking with them. And usually I'm just the person that's behind the scenes.
Usually you're doing mouth to mouth or whatever. Yeah.
I should put a disclaimer on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No weirdos
Um,
showing up.
no weirdos. Yep. All right. Well, thank you for coming on again. For all of you listening, we'll be here the same time next week to talk more about business culture in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Be sure to drop by and visit our guests and all the other vendors at the St. John's Farmers Market this week.